Hey guys, this is Miss Brigman, and today we're going to be looking at Unit 4, Lesson 4, and this is Part 1, all about triangles. So let's start out with some vocabulary. I'm sure you guys already know this first part. A triangle is a polygon with exactly 3 sides and 3 angles. On the triangle to the left, the sides would be called AB, BC, and AC. The angles would be angle A, and I'll just highlight that in blue. This is angle A, angle B, and finally angle C. I'll highlight that in green. The angle sum theorem is a theorem that you will need to memorize. Now, theorem just means a rule that you need to follow, and this states that the sum of the measures of 3 angles inside a triangle will always equal 180 degrees. So this is really something you need to commit to memory. This is something that you will use throughout the rest of your mathematical career and education. So please write, therefore, the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C all adds up to 180 degrees. Now I have a short video I want to show you that proves why this theorem is true.
Today I'm going to be showing you how you can
Monster Math.
So that was the video that I wanted to show you. It did a great job of just proving why those things are true. So let's head back to our notes now, and we're going to try some examples. Okay, we're going to work through the odds here today. So example number 1 says find each missing measure. So as you can see, we are looking for angle X. We are going to set up an equation where we are adding all of these angles together, and we're going to set it equal to 180 because as you just saw, all the interior angles of a triangle must add up to 180. It does not matter the order that you write the angles in. So number 1, I can write X plus 64 plus 35, adding all those interior angles together, must add up to 180 degrees. You will combine your constants, this is combining like terms, to get X plus 99 equals 180, and the final step will be to simply subtract 99. The final answer for number 1 is going to be X equals 81 degrees. And of course, you can always check your work because if you plug in 81 into your triangle and then add all of these angles, that is 81, 64, and 35, they will always add up to 180 degrees if you have the correct answer. Number 3. we're going to write x plus 59 plus 56. Again, this is addition, which is commutative. The commutative property says you can add in any order. So the order of those numbers does not matter. We are going to set it equal to 180, combine the constants, and solve for x. The final answer here is going to be x equals 65 degrees. And again, plug that into your little picture, add these on your calculator, and check your work. Make sure that they actually do add up to 180. Number 5, we're going to write x plus 19 plus 15. Adding those up, they're going to equal 180. So go ahead and combine the constants. We're combining like terms here, and we're going to get x equals 34 equals 180. Let's solve for x by doing the inverse operation, balance, solve. So 180 minus 34 is 146 degrees. Remember, 146 is an obtuse angle, so you can kind of check your work like that as well. The angles here are 15 degrees, 146 degrees, and 19 degrees, which all add up to 180. Okay, number 7. Taking a look at this figure, you can see that we have 2 triangles. So first I'm going to focus on this top triangle, which I'm highlighting here in yellow. We can first find angle 3 because we know that 33 plus 68 plus that missing angle 3, and I'm just using x to represent angle 3, all of those must add up to 180. So we will combine like terms and get 101 plus x equals 180. Go ahead and solve for x. And the answer is 79 degrees. So write that right in on your picture, and that will kind of help you and lead you to the next step. Now I'm going to look at the bottom triangle. I'll highlight this in red, as you can see. Now the problem here is we are missing 2 of the angles, and that's not a good thing. There's no way to figure this out without one of these. So what you need to do is kind of look around and see what other angles are given and what's the relationship between them. So what I noticed right away, I'm going to highlight in purple. I noticed that these 2 intersecting lines form vertical angles. So please notice that angle 2 is vertical with angle 68. And we learned that vertical angles are what? If you said congruent, you are correct. So angle 2 automatically has to equal 68. So now we can find that third missing angle, which is angle 1. So we know that the missing angle 1, I'll just call that x, plus 68, which we just found, that was the vertical angle with the other 68 that was given, plus 93, all add up to 180. So go ahead and combine like terms. You're going to get x plus 161 equals 180. Subtract 161 from both sides, and the answer here is going to be 19 degrees. Final step is make sure you go over to your answer key and correctly plug in all of the answers. So angle 1, the answer was 19 degrees. Angle 2, the answer was 68 degrees. And angle 3, the answer was 79 degrees. And again, you can go back and double check that those interior angles inside the triangle do add up to 180. Now let's move to the back of our notes. Okay, looking at number 9, this time we're going to be using algebra to find the value of x. So we know that the interior angles inside a triangle all combine to equal 180 degrees. So I'm going to start by writing an expression where I'm setting each of these expressions, each of these angle measures, I'm going to be combining them. So the red angle, 5x minus 11, plus I'm using blue for the next angle, 3x minus 2, plus the final angle, I'll use green, that's 121. These are all going to add up to 180. So this is algebra because we have a long equation. We need to always start on the side with the variable, and the first step is to combine like terms. So 5x and 3x combine to give you 8x. Negative 11 and negative 2, that's going to equal negative 13, and then negative 13 and the positive 121 are going to give you positive 108. Now you will solve the two-step equation. The answer is x equals 9. Don't forget, you can always plug 9 back up into the triangle, into each of these angles, and double check that it actually does work out to be 180 degrees. Okay, the bottom portion of our notes is looking at types of triangles. So this is vocabulary that you are going to need to memorize. And first, let's start by types of triangles, classifying it by its angles. So please copy these down. And classifying by the angles has to do with the angle measures of the triangles. So if you look at a triangle and all three of the angles are less than 90 degrees, then you are going to call that an acute triangle. It just means these angle measures, the space between the rays here is measuring less than 90 degrees for all three of them. We call that an acute triangle, because all of the angles are acute. Now, if you have a triangle that looks like the second one, where one angle is greater than 90 degrees, as you can see, the one that I'm outlining in black here, that is greater than 90 degrees. So this is called an obtuse triangle. It just has to have at least one, just one, that is greater than 90. And then the final type of triangle is a right triangle, and that one's really easy to point out because you will always see a little box indicating a 90-degree angle. We call that a right triangle. Those are the three types if you are required to classify by the angles. Now, if you are required to classify by the sides, you will need to look at the actual side lengths. So let's focus in on that. If there are no congruent sides, that means all three of these sides are different lengths. That is called a scalene triangle, a scalene triangle. It will be indicated by these little marks. There's one mark here saying that's one certain length, 2 marks here saying that's a different length, and 3 marks here saying that is a third length that is different. There are no congruent sides. This is called a scalene triangle. The next type is there are 2 congruent sides. We call this isosceles. This is an isosceles triangle. As you can see, there is a mark here and a mark here. The little matching dash marks mean that these 2 sides are equal. The third has no line, so that is not equal to these 2 sides. And then finally, when all sides are congruent, you can see there's a mark here for each side length. That's indicating that these are all congruent. So we call that an equilateral triangle because all of the sides are equal. That is classifying the triangle by its sides. All 6 of these vocabulary words need to be memorized. Now let's go to the examples. Directions: classify each triangle by its angles and by its sides. So let's look at number 11. First, let's start by looking at its angles. We have a 40-degree angle, a 24-degree angle, and then we can actually figure out this third angle because remember, we know that they have to add up to 180. So we know that 40 plus 24 plus that third angle have to equal 180. So let me work that out real quick for you guys. I got 116. Notice that that angle is obtuse. So that means if we classify this by its angles, this is an obtuse triangle. If we classify it by its sides, you will have to actually look at the side lengths here, and you can tell that this one is shorter, this one's kind of a medium length, and this is a long length. So these sides are not congruent, so this is going to be called a scalene triangle. Okay, moving on to number 13. We have 38, 54, and then we don't know that other angle. So let's figure that out. 38 plus 54 plus what? We know it has to add up to 180, so I'm going to do 180. Figure this out for you guys. I got 88 degrees. So the x equals 88 degrees. Now, if you're going too fast, you may think that that's a right angle. You can't go based on how it looks. You do need to figure out that angle measure. So as you can see, all of these angles are acute. They're all less than 90. So the final answer here to classify it by its angles is going to be acute. To classify it by its sides, you can tell that this one is shorter, this one is a medium length, this one's a longer length. So again, this is scalene. These side lengths are not congruent. And then finally, we have a 27, and then we don't know that final angle right here. So let's go ahead and work that out. I got 126. So since we do have that one obtuse angle, it only takes one. This is an obtuse triangle. And then you can tell this triangle has 2 dash marks. That means 2 of the sides are equal. So this is an isosceles triangle. So you are required to know how to classify a triangle by its angles and by its sides. All right, that concludes our lesson for today. Have a great day.